We're back. The best of food and wine with Anthony Gismondi and Kasey Wilson, live from the Wines of Canada stage at the 2017 Vancouver International Wine Festival. Now, here's Tony and Kasey.
Baby, I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. Baby, I don't need
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Kasey Wilson.
Joining us now is a man who needs an introduction, because they always say you don't need one. Harry McWatters, he doesn't need one. Harry, one of the original characters of the BC wine industry, and just plugging along today now from Time Estate Winery. Harry, the time flew by. Maybe that's why you called it Time Estate.
It's all about time.
Yeah.
This was the right time.
This was the right time.
And you almost didn't make it to the show. You were stuck in, where were
Timing.
you?
I was stuck in St. John's.
Oh my
St.
goodness.
John's.
St. John's,
Yeah.
and I had enough CAD that
Yeah.
it was time to get out. They paid for a charter flight for me to leave.
Really?
They did. No, they did not.
Come on, Harry.
Were you drinking wine there?
I did my share.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Always good.
There's actually, Newfoundland is a phenomenal place
It is.
for a number of things, but St. John's itself has got a phenomenal food and wine culture that surprises people that go there for the first time.
Yep.
Per capita, some of the very best restaurants in this continent.
Yeah. Well, it's the closest place to Europe, isn't it?
It is, but
In some ways it
in
is.
some ways,
Like the distance.
and another nice thing about it is a proof positive that global warming is a myth.
Yeah, very good. Well, Harry, great to catch up with you. Of course, Canada's the theme this year. I'm sure you dreamt about these kind of things, but it's fantastic to see them happen.
It really is. Somebody asked me earlier today, what do you think? 40 years ago, 39 years ago, when this first happened, if British Columbia had been part of it, and I said we could have held it in a phone booth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I was here then, and every single one since.
Yeah.
So this show is really a phenomenal thing. That you made. Somebody quoted you today at a reception I was at, and say what it's done for food and wine culture in this province, and it really has. It's been one of the things you can really embrace and say, we have the phenomenal wines and attitude about wines
Yes.
in this province, largely because of what's happened here.
Yeah, true. And, well, I remember even at the start, it wasn't long, one or two. Obviously, it had to start. Mondavi's got it going, but I remember right away Harry McWatters saying, why aren't we in? We want in. We should be there. Why can't we be in? And a lot of people say, well, you're not good enough to be here. And you say, no, we got to be there. And then it wasn't long after, and you were in.
I took a lot of flack from some of my colleagues in the industry because one year, when it was still just California, John Levine asked me if I would participate in hosting the wines for a reception at the
I'd love to hear that conversation.
At the U.S. consulate.
Yeah.
And I said, well, for who? And he said, well, the California winemakers. And I said, why?
Yeah.
He said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 10 tickets for each night of the festival and a full-page ad in our program. Why wouldn't you? One of my colleagues said, what are you doing there? It's a California wine festival, Harry. And I said, but the people in the room are wine drinkers, and I actually want to know them all.
Yeah.
Yes,
It paid off.
exactly.
Yeah. And now they're all in the room. There's 25,000 of them. They're all wine drinkers. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, and they actually know that the wineries we have are not located in California.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we were talking about that. We've been talking about a lot of things this week, but in the last sort of 7 years or so, it's just been incredible. What's going on in the Okanagan.
It is.
The amount of confidence, the change in the thinking, and then the guts to do stuff different. It's really impressive.
It really is. I'm asked often a lot about, so what do you think about it, Harry? And I said, first of all, it's gone way beyond what my wildest imagination would be.
Yeah.
And I think some of the things that have contributed to that is that we've got such diversity in attitude about the wines and the styles.
Yes.
We've got talent that was created in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Complemented by talent that was created in other parts of the world that's come and joined us. Mm-hmm. We've got talent that grew up in the Okanagan but went elsewhere to learn the craft. When you bring that back in that melting pot and sharing of ideas that was on, the consumer is the beneficiary. They're just such phenomenal wines out there and great diversity of style.
And we're very supportive of the industry. When you go into Vancouver restaurants, And everybody that travels here, they want to taste BC wines.
Yeah, it hasn't always been that way, Casey.
No.
I often say when I start this, first of all, I'm celebrating in 2017 my 50th vintage.
Wow.
We're producing a wine called 50 Vintages, and I think about calling on restaurants in this city almost 50 years ago, and it's, first of all, their comment was because they were restricted to what the markup could be. Your wines aren't expensive enough.
Yes.
Now that's not what they say.
No.
But the other part of it is I often quip that long ago we had two consumers, those that took it out of the brown paper bag and those that didn't. But as you know, we didn't have a wine culture here at that time. People that were drinking wine wanted it sweet, higher in alcohol, and generally red. But technically the wines were not badly made. The best wines we made were the toughest ones to sell because people weren't drinking dry wine.
No, true. Well, it's a new day now.
You bet.
When I met you, you had a 9-hole golf course, and you were selling Sumac Ridge, and you were a parading pioneer. Today, you have time.
I seem to always be short of time. But
Yeah. Tell us a bit about time, and you got a big project in downtown Penticton. Give us the lowdown as quick as you can, I guess.
In a capsule of time.
Yeah.
That first of all, the winery was called Time. We were building a winery on the vineyard, and I was made a very, very generous offer to sell really the vineyard.
Yeah.
So we kept the brands, the inventory, all of our equipment that we were putting there, and I needed to find a place quickly. And so as we looked at some options, the realtor said, "What about the Penmar Theater?" And I said, "Well, it's not for sale." He said, "It's going to be." And so we looked at it, and I originally wasn't interested in going to look at it. And I thought, he set it up.
And that's in Penticton.
It's in Penticton, yeah. And it was built in the mid-'50s. It opened in 1956, and in either 56 or 57, I went there on a Saturday afternoon with a girl that I'd met. Her family was staying at the same place that we were on vacation. Cost me 25 cents for both of us to get in and share a pop and a popcorn.
Oh, my God.
So times have changed. I really date my...
Yeah.
And I was 12 years old.
Oh.
Anyway, as I walked into the theater with the realtor, and he put the lights on, and you see a theater with no seating in it, and Theater 1.
Yeah.
Wow, this could be a good fermentation hall. Went into Theater 2, barrel cellar.
Yeah.
Theater 3, which is smaller, it houses some barrels, stainless barrels, and some small tanks and finished goods. Theater 4, which is the smallest of the bunch, we're keeping as a theater, and we'll do movies and some live performance. We're licensed there for just over 100, but we'll probably only seat about 75. And we don't want to use it for
I don't
seminars.
believe you for a second, Harry, but keep going.
Yeah. The whole idea is that I want to use it, have the industry use it. We're thinking of doing a series of Saturday morning seminars throughout the year that we bring in winemakers from other wineries. That, let's say there's Riesling producers. We bring in 8 Riesling producers with their wines and let people taste them. I think the biggest audience we'll have will be the industry.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think you're right.
Yeah. But it's kind of great to be right in a downtown area, and Penticton seems to be regenerating itself.
Well, Penticton's a real town to me. I love Penticton.
And you know that they're calling that the entertainment district. I think some of that's a little bit aspirational, but I think it really could be in a short order. The interesting thing is I started my career, as I say, almost 50 years ago, exactly 3 kilometers south of there.
Yeah.
So I haven't moved very fast.
And you called it a wine industry 50 years ago, so that was a bit aspirational.
It was.
Yeah, but it's all worked out.
Yeah, it has.
Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. But it's been such a great journey here in BC, and so many people have contributed. But the early pioneers, they have to be pretty happy with the way that it's rolled out now.
And you know, not only them and
Yeah.
you know, myself and the colleagues that have been around a long time, but we're seeing the benefit of the next generation and the third generation.
Yep.
You know, at the British Columbia the Wine Institute annual general meeting, there's a board of directors of 9. Either 4 or 5 of them are second generation.
That's great.
Yes,
That's phenomenal.
it is.
Harry, we're going to run out of time. You brought 2 wines. You brought a Chardonnay, so we'll talk about that, and then Kronos, which I know nothing about. So let's.
Yeah, and I
we
want
got a
you to
couple
tell me
minutes.
about the capsule, how easy that is to do.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about the Chardonnay.
Yeah.
It's a 2014. We've just released it. My philosophy on Chardonnay has been it needs some time in the bottle.
Yep.
All of the juice in this sees some oak, but at different times. We do a portion that's barrel fermented. We do a portion that's stainless tank fermented, and a portion that we did, a small portion, in stainless barrels. And we started that a few years ago, and it was really about the texture, leaving on the leaves at 300-liter barrels. And so then we take those stainless components and we then barrel age them in about 1 and 2 year old oak for a short period of time. We never want to sacrifice fruit for wood, and we don't want anybody to get slivers. I think this wine needs, and where we use predominantly French oak, and this one we have a little bit of American oak. And I think it just fattens out some of that tropical style that we've got in this.
It's very tropical. Yeah, very peachy. I like it a lot.
Delicious.
And price?
$25.
$25. Okay. They can buy it.
Any VQA store, through our wine club, private retailers, a number of restaurants that.
Are there still VQA stores, Harry?
Yes, there are VQA stores, and some of them might be in grocery, but there are still that in the city of Vancouver. There's one at First and Burrard.
Cool.
And that's the only one in the city of Vancouver now.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll see more.
We're going to move on. Promise me you'll come back. I'd love to talk to you about grocery stores.
Okay, well, that's
down
a whole
the road.
different topic.
I know, and
It
we're not
is.
going to do it tonight. But
Good.
Okay, Kronos, which is a brand new wine for me. I've never seen it before, and you've just brought it here to the table. It's 2013.
It's 2013.
Yeah.
Kronos
Nice vintage.
is the god of time, and so
Of course.
it was appropriate that we named our big boy after
What
the
a
god
great
of wine.
idea.
And that Crystal Lee's, my daughter, I think you're interviewing her shortly. We didn't necessarily agree on this name, but those that know us know that we don't always agree right off the bat. But she did, so I picked the name, but she actually did finish off the graphics for the package.
Well,
I think it's
a
come together.
beautiful package. So tell me about, it's time consuming. You're dipping the capsule?
Yeah, my son did that, actually. That I think he was a little heavy on the wax. We're going to have to tell him to be a little more cautious
Lighten
of
up.
what cost.
Yeah.
Is that expensive?
Well, the time to do it. And
It's time consuming, but we only made 100 cases of it. It's going to only really be sold at the winery, and we're going to use it for celebrating the opening of the winery with it. And we will continue to produce wines like this in the future. We didn't spare a lot of expense on anything on the packaging,
No, it's
or the
gorgeous.
product. That's not the original cork in there. That the cork supplier came and stole it off the table a little bit earlier. That the corks were all hand selected, and
the fruit for Kronos is?
fruit is from a number of vineyards,
Yeah.
and it is, as you know, a little partial to Bordeaux varieties.
Yeah.
It's
I
not.
thought you were going to say Meritage for a second there.
Well, that's why it's not Meritage,
Yeah.
because it does have varieties that would not be allowed in Meritage.
Aha.
Although there's quite a variety of varieties in there. There's no product sheet for this. Chrisley said that she sent one. I actually haven't seen the product sheet for it because we haven't sold any yet. But it has 5 Bordeaux varieties in it, Syrah, and a little bit of
Wow.
some of the other varieties. It's a fairly big wine. It's meant in barrel.
It's big, but it's delicious.
I think the tannins are soft. It's not shy of alcohol. It's 14.5%. So for a rosé, I think
And one last question. When is the
Rosé.
winery opening?
spring.
In the spring.
Yeah, I'd like to give you an exact date. It's going to be the day after we get our final inspection and our liquor license
Yeah.
in place. We have the manufacturing license in place. Everything else looks good. But initially we thought very early spring, and today I'm going to tell you it's going to be it's going to be in spitting distance of June 1.
It's kind of a hairy date anyways, right? Like
There you go.
spring, summer. It's
Yeah,
it's going to open. We know that.
Yeah, that I would have liked to have had it open earlier, but because we ran into some challenges, we ran into surprises with the theater.
Yeah.
Not all of them were bad. That when we took the T-bar ceiling down, we found this phenomenal wood roof. It looks like Noah's Ark turned upside down. It's
Wow.
absolutely
Is that right?
spectacular. But then we had to do a lot of seismic upgrading, and I want to tell you that if there's ever a big earthquake in the Okanagan,
Head for the theater.
he'd head to the theater. There'll be lots of food and wine there, and it's a
Great,
safe
I'm
building.
in.
Harry, thanks so much.
My
Congratulations on your 50th upcoming vintage.
Thank you.
That is a big achievement. Great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Harry
Thank you.
McWatters, are really one of the pioneers of the BC wine industry, just joined us on the Best of Food and Wine. We have to take a quick break, but we're coming to you live from the floor of the Vancouver International Wine Festival, year 39. Canada's the theme. Kasey Wilson is the woman. How are you, Kasey?
You know what? I enjoy this festival. It gets better every year, Tony.
We'll take a quick break and be right back on CISL's 6:50 a.m. Best of Food and Wine.
We're live from the Wines of Canada stage at the 2017 Vancouver International Wine Festival. There's more of the show coming up in just 2 minutes.